Well, hello there. This is Virtuals the Chess Noob, learning and having fun with chess. Merch at chessnoob64.com. Now today I've got another game of the Von Hennig Gambit, one of my favourite openings, and it means that it's another Caro-Kann destroyed. Well, let's go take a look. So I've got the white pieces, of course, and I start with e4. Caro-Kann, c6, immediate d4, d5, the knight c3, all very normal, captures in the main line, and the Von Hennig Gambit is where we don't take back with the knight, which would be the main line, but instead we accept the material loss for accelerated development with bishop to c4. Now technically this is an inaccuracy. However, if you look at sort of the lead chess community database, this is one of the best lines, one of the most winning lines against the Caro-Kann. And one of the things that's really good about this gambit is that white will usually get a very good position, often a winning position in the middle game out of the opening, with black only playing sensible looking moves. So we don't need black making any weird moves to get the advantage. Now here, consider what would be the most logical move. Well, knight to f6 would be rational, defending that pawn, trying to hold on to the advantage, and it develops a piece, and that is the best move. We now play f3, challenging the pawn. Now black here will usually take, but they decide to push b5 first. That makes sense, expanding on the queen side. Potentially looks like they could end up trapping the bishop if I'm not careful. It's a good move. Here I bring the bishop back. Now in this position, black does decide to take the pawn. That is actually one of their best moves. Simply, it looks like that over time that they may have trouble holding onto that pawn anyway. Here, they effectively consolidate their point of material that they've won, and they take away that tension. Here, we capture back. Now consider what would be the most logical move for black. So, if you look, white has now 3 developed pieces. That's the point of the gambit, to try to get accelerated development. However, most of their pieces are a bit hemmed in. This bishop can't develop right away. Doesn't make sense to develop the queen at this point. This knight is sort of blocked in by the Caro-Kann pawn in its natural development square, and if it develops here, well, it blocks in the bishop. So the logical thing is to develop the light square bishop, and most people will tend to play bishop to g4 because they develop the bishop, it's in an attacking position, and it pins one of my pieces to the queen, potentially winning some tempo back because they're a bit down on development. However, you can see it's a blunder. And in fact, the blunder is worse than +3. Can you see the best next move? Well, there are actually 2 really good moves in this position. Firstly, there's the oh no my queen trap. Knight to e5, counterattacking the queen, counteracting the bishop, hanging the queen, and if black gets greedy and takes the queen, it's immediate checkmate. Check, defended, no escape, done. So this is, a very sneaky trap in the Von Hennig Gambit. Now in this game, I opted not to play that move, partly because they pushed this move. And to me, that might mean that black understands the Von Hennig Gambit somewhat. This is one of the defenses against the Gambit. So I decided to play the other move, probably the more grown-up move, which is bishop captures the pawn on f7, sacrifice, brilliant move. Here, king captures, knight now jumps forward to e5 with check. It's also an absolute fork of the bishop. King moves back. Now, probably king g8 is a little bit better. I take that bishop, captures with queen, and at the beginning of move 11, let's consider where we are. I have developed pieces ready to immediately short castle. If I develop my bishop, I can long castle. I've got some central control. Black has a damaged king side, with a hole on the f-file. They've got a somewhat damaged queenside pawn structure here as well, no developed pieces. It's not looking very good, and they can't castle right away either. And here, it's about +3, as I said before. White is completely winning. It's really now a matter of not losing. They develop the knight, makes sense. Short castles, give an attack on the queen, that's fine. Let's pull that back. They capture with a check, that's fine. Let's block that check, win some tempo. And here, black makes sense. They want to make an attack, maybe try to trade queens. However, they really needed to play queen to c4 to defend the c6 pawn, because now I've got captures, absolute fork of the king and rook. I take the rook, so I've got a massive material lead now. They push, that's fine. That knight is pinned to the king, place pressure on the pinned piece. So knight jumps forward with an attack. They now defend the knight with their bishop with a discovered attack on the queen. However, it doesn't really quite work because I can still straight up take. And that's what I did. Because you might think, well, can't they take there and it's still got, defense of the rook? They don't, because that bishop, is now pinned to the king, which means I can take safely. In fact, that's really bad. That's a huge blunder. So in fact, here, they have to take the queen first. I get to take their queen. It's a queen trade. Much better for me, because we now enter an endgame. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces to black's 2. It's completely winning. I just don't have to stuff up. Pretty simple, actually. King moves because it was under check. I push a pawn, basically, to block in that bishop. We make some moves. I capture that free pawn. They attack, bring the knight back. They move, push. What am I doing? Push the knight forward. And actually, in this position, black opted to resign. Emotional damage was already struck, and it took a few moves for the feeling to really creep into black's my opponent's heart, and here they decided they no longer had the will to play on. Good game, and GG. The big takeaway from this game is to try the Von Hennig Gambit against a Caro-Kann defense. It's a little unsound, but it's very fun to play and it's very winning. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.